Right now at 5, authorities in southwest Missouri discover a suspicious device during a traffic stop.
And we have a cooler start to a decently warm day today.
Plus, a local woman says her complaints about mold will cause her to lose her home.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Lindsay Gaffney.
Yes, and it's Wednesday, September 25th, the first week of fall, and it's really feeling like fall out there.
It does feel pretty cool. Thankfully, I mean, we dropped in temperatures this past weekend, a lot of rainfall, and we continue to stay about average. We can go ahead and take a look outside, and we'll see a cooler start to the morning with temperatures in the mid-50s across the region, but clear skies. However, we do start off with pretty low visibility right now, 3 miles visibility, but as we get a little bit later into the morning, it's just going to expand and we're going to see about half a mile, maybe even a little bit less in most of our counties in Kansas and Oklahoma, and a few of our northerly counties as well, even in Lamar, Nevada, Stockton. Now, in the Carl Junction, Joplin area, maybe about a mile visibility, but this continues until the early morning hours, about 9-10 a.m. before it finally starts to clear out. So most of your morning commute, you're going to be dealing with some fog. So watch out for that. Other than that, it's going to warm up to a pretty decent day. Clear skies all around. Most of the clouds have cleared out. So we're looking good. We don't have any rain chances, at least not for the next couple of days. So starting off, right now, we saw it was about mid-50s, but we're going to warm up pretty quickly to about mid-60s by 10 a.m. Sunny skies all morning long, and then by about 1 p.m., mid-70s. However, we do warm up to the upper 70s, which is just about average for this time of year. Now, outside of the fog, we've got rain chances later in the forecast, and I'll talk about that coming up.
All right, Lindsay, thanks. Well, the state of Missouri carries out the execution of Marcellus Williams by lethal injection last night. The execution came shortly after the U.S. Supreme Court rejected a request from Williams' attorney to delay. Now, Williams had maintained his innocence in the 1998 stabbing death of Felicia Gale in St. Louis. He was pronounced dead at 6:10 yesterday evening. Earlier efforts to halt the execution were denied yesterday by the Missouri Supreme Court and Republican Governor Mike Parson. That was on Monday. Now, dozens gathered at the Missouri State Capitol Rotunda to protest the evening's execution.
How do we teach that killing is wrong by killing? I'm a volunteer at the Jefferson City Correction Center, the prison. And the men I know out there are human beings. Killing them as a result of things they've done in the past, they don't deserve that. We're better than that as a state.
Marcellus Williams' execution is the third in Missouri this year and among 5 taking place nationwide across a 7-day span. Barton County, Missouri deputies discovered a suspicious device during a traffic stop. Now, it happened around 3 yesterday afternoon as authorities closed traffic in the area for about 3.5 hours. The Springfield Fire Department bomb squad inspected the device and discovered it was in fact an explosive device. They rendered the device safe and transported it to their facility. One man is in custody and formal charges are pending. No one was injured. Well, search and rescue crews in Berry County, Missouri respond to an alert of 2 adults lost in part of the Mark Twain National Forest. The alert came in just after 1 yesterday morning. Search and rescue from Central Crossing Fire Protection District responded with equipment and a search and rescue canine to the Piney Creek Wilderness area of the park. Now, crews found the pair okay at around 5:40 yesterday morning. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, a Pittsburgh woman believes her lease is no longer being renewed because she reported mold concerns at her home. Susan Ledbetter has lived at the Pittsburgh Highland development for the past 6 years. She says she struggles with mold every year, an issue KOAM reported on back in 2019 when the development was under different management. Now in August, Ledbetter says the mold was the worst she's ever seen. The owners moved her into a hotel while even her floors had to be replaced. Now, since then, she says she's received a notice that her lease is no longer being renewed. Now, she believes it's because she has reported the issues with mold. She says other tenants have similar concerns, excuse me, but are now fearful to speak up.
The thing is, we were getting sick. It was disgusting in here, and it's flat out wrong to treat people like that. But you're mad at me because I asked you to do something you should have done in the first place. It's your job. I mean, if I could fire them for not doing their job, they would have been fired 6 years ago because they don't do anything.
Now, we reached out to the Moline Management Company who manages the development for a statement. The CEO says any mold issues at the development has been resolved. He says the company is not the true owners of the property, but declined to provide further information about the ownership. Well, it's an exciting time here at KOAM. For months now, our crew has been working behind the scenes, preparing to bring you a whole new way to receive the 4 states' #1 news station. It's our brand new 24-hour streaming service, the KOAM Plus app. And who better to introduce it than our own streaming anchor, Jordan Keys.
I am here in the KOAM Plus Digital Center, where every day we'll be working to share with you live news updates, breaking news, and weather forecasts from the Skywatch weather team. This is my workspace and where a lot of that content starts, and it's all designed to make sure that you can stay up to date with the news and weather in a different, easy way. So what can you get from KOAM Plus? Well, you can get and stay informed. We've overhauled our streaming efforts to bring you top-of-the-hour live updates, breaking news as it happens, and weather every 10 minutes. The free app is the best way to get the news that matters to you on your time 24/7. In addition to streaming our regular morning and evening newscasts for free, you'll get live updates throughout the day with the most up-to-date information on stories that matter to you. The new look of KOAM Plus also has a graphic with live radar information and forecasts for cities around the 4 states anytime you turn it on. You can also see updated headlines of the day scrolling below. One of my favorite parts of the app is the on-demand content. All our videos live here, and you can watch past special reports, in-depth interviews, and exclusive content you can't get anywhere else. And if you don't have a connected TV, don't worry. You can always watch the stream on KOAM Plus anytime. KOAM Plus powers the stream on the KOAM News Now app and on KOAMNewsNow.com. I'm Jordan Keys, KOAM News Now.
Now you'll be able to watch the new streaming player on all KOAM digital platforms. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Neosho and Joplin square off on the softball diamond. We'll have the details. Plus, Prince Harry talks about social media dangers at Clinton Global Initiative. And we have a nice and sunny day today. We'll have what to expect with Lindsay Gaffney in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Neosho High School softball continues the defense of its 2023 Central Ozark Conference Championship on the road yesterday evening. The Lady Wildcats traveled to Joplin. It's Teacher Appreciation Night in Joplin. The Lady Eagles host Neosho. Top of the first inning, runner on second, Carly Kinnard drives one to straightaway center. That's gone for a 2-run home run. Kinnard, the starting pitcher, helps out her own because bottom of the first, runner on third, Jaden Pankow hits it sharply into left field. That's one of 3 runs Joplin scores in that inning. The next inning, Pankow at the plate again, skies it to shallow right, and that'll drop down Joplin now leads 6-2, but far from finished in that frame. Lily Glover knocks this one into the gap in right center. It rolls all the way to the wall. Maria Loom comes in to score. Glover hustles into third with a triple. Neosho scores 4 runs in the top of the 7th, but it's not enough. Joplin takes it 11-8. A busy evening for Missouri high school softball in the Big 8. Monette earns a road win over Seneca 5-1. The Cubs have now won 4 of their last 5. Then McDonald County beats Cassville 7-3. That snaps a 3-game losing skid for the Lady Mustangs. They're at home once again today against Ozark. Missouri Southern Pittsburgh State men's golf both finish up play at the second day of the MSSU Invitational yesterday afternoon. The same is true for Missouri Southern women's golf, who is up in Nebraska at the MIAA Fall Conference Preview. Now, starting on the men's side, here's a look at the leaderboard of the tournament, which features 16 teams. Arkansas's Fort Smith takes first, followed by Arkansas Tech, then a 3-way tie for third. Pittsburgh State takes 10th. And remember, the Gorillas are in their first year back as an NCAA program since 2014, and Missouri Southern ties for 13th. Individually, Southern and Pitt State each have 1 golfer inside the top 20 of the field. That's Ben Markman for the Lions and Carson Towie for the Gorillas. A total of 84 golfers completed in the event over the past 2 days. Pitt State also has Mason White and Keaton Thiessen, each inside the top 40. Well, Missouri Southern women's golf is over in Kearney, Nebraska, taking part in the MIAA Fall Conference Preview. 15 teams are participating, and the Lions finished 5th as a team after the final round this afternoon. Now, Central Missouri finishes in first place with a 9-stroke lead on the rest of the field. Now, here's the individual leaderboard after the tournament is finished. Shayla Norland from Fort Hays State takes first place at 1 over. Missouri Southern has 3 golfers in the top 20. Marin Harlow leads the way in 7th place. She shoots a 2-day total of 6 over par. Now over to Major League Baseball. Royals are coming down the stretch of the regular season. Just 6 games to go, including last night. And they win last night in D.C. 1-0, the final score in 10 innings. This snaps a 7-game Royals losing streak. This coincides with the Twins and Mariners both losing as we come on the air. So the Royals have a 1.5 game lead for the 3rd wild card spot. Well, still to come, a new study found chemicals linked to breast cancer can be found in our food. Plus, a check of the 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Well below average. We did have a few showers that were passing by, so we had some good amount of rainfall. We needed it, especially out in the Missouri side. We currently have a drought, that's a severe drought that's moving in, but with all the rainfall that we got in this weekend, hopefully that'll help. Now it gets updated on Thursday, so we'll see tomorrow how much rainfall we got and how it affected us. But we're going to stay mostly dry for the next couple of days, mostly clear skies, although we start the morning off with quite a bit of fog today. So dense fog through most of our counties, especially on the Kansas and Oklahoma side, until about 9 a.m. Temperatures start off in the mid-50s when you're getting ready to go to school, go to work by 7 a.m. And then we warm up up to the mid to upper 70s, and we're going to be mostly clear as well with a light breeze out of the north. So overall today and tomorrow are going to be the same good, nice, warm days, and our overnight lows as well, dropping down to 60s already by about 8 p.m. and then we drop down to mid-50s again for overnight low tonight, and even lower 50s. Now, for the next couple of days, we are going to continue to slightly heat up. Now, it's not a drastic heat up, only getting into the lower 80s, but that's because we've got a ridge forming over the area, which just means we're building high pressure and warmer air in our area, which is, again, not a big warm up, only to the low 80s through the weekend, but we also have some slight rain chances as well as we move into the weekend. We're going to see the Hurricane Helene make landfall as a Category 3 with winds over 120 miles per hour. So pretty strong hurricane. And as you can see, we've got another low pressure here. So what happens is what we call the Fujiwara effect. And as it moves in, normally what we see is a hurricane moving northeast, but what we're going to see, because of this low pressure that's already positioned to the west of the hurricane, they're going to kind of rotate towards each other, and actually the hurricane pushes west, which is why we see rain. This is going to be Friday afternoon, and as it pushes west, it's going to reach some rain showers all the way to our area again. Friday afternoon, so it's about 3:30. This is our next chance of rain, and then the low pressure will overtake the hurricane, and then it'll continue to shift east. So it's a pretty rare occurrence. We don't normally see something like this happen, which is why we're getting rain from it, even though the hurricane is so far east, making landfall in Florida, instead of when we normally see rain from a hurricane, it's making landfall in Texas. So it's a pretty cool thing that's happening, and then it'll continue to shift east, and then we get that warm up for the weekend as the ridge pushes in. So temperatures getting up to 77 Saturday, 79 on Sunday, 80 on Monday, and then we cool back down as another low pressure moves in, although we don't have a lot of rain chances. So the rest of the forecast through the weekend, end of the week and into the weekend is going to be pretty mild, upper 70s, clear skies until those slight rain chances Friday evening, and then we warm up a little bit through the first half of next week. And we'll be back with more news after this.
Well, topping Health Watch this morning, a new study found chemicals linked to breast cancer are leaching into our foods. Nearly 200 chemicals connected to breast cancer are used to make food packaging and plastic tableware, and dozens of those carcinogens can migrate into the human body. According to the study, 40 of the recently detected chemicals in food packaging are already classified as hazardous by regulatory agencies around the world. The findings come as rates of early onset breast cancer in women under 50 are increasing. And experts said the trend cannot be explained by genetics alone. The study co-author says getting rid of these known or suspected carcinogens in the food supply is a huge opportunity for cancer prevention. Well, there is mounting evidence showing that eating ultra-processed foods can increase your risk for type 2 diabetes. According to a study published Monday in the Lancet Regional Health Europe, ultra-processed foods like sugary drinks, chips, and hot dogs contain synthetic additives that can have a big impact on your health. Now, researchers studied the development of type 2 diabetes in more than 300,000 people in Europe. The data showed the risk of type 2 diabetes increased with the amount of ultra-processed foods a person consumed. Now, study authors believe that's because these foods tend to be higher in calories and less filling, which means people eat more to feel full. And those extra calories could lead to increased body fat, which also increases the risk of type 2 diabetes. Well, it's a leading cause of injury and death for young children. Certain nursery products are linked to unsafe sleep environments, and a new report in honor of Baby Safety Month shows the danger is still there, despite efforts to make parents aware. Mandy Gaither has a look at the data and what every parent should know to keep children safe.
It remains a dangerous problem. The latest data from the Consumer Product Safety Commission shows there were 523 deaths associated with nursery products reported among children under 5 between 2019 and 2021. 76% of those deaths were linked to cribs, mattresses, bassinets and cradles, playpens, play yards, inclined infant sleep products, and infant carriers.
It's really not surprising that these products have been associated with unsafe sleep deaths.
Dr. Manisha Agarwal with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta says babies need their own dedicated, firm, flat sleep surface. The CPSC says to use only products intended for sleep that meet federal requirements and make sure that sleep space is bare with nothing but a fitted sheet.
So no blankets, no pillows, no stuffies.
If a child falls asleep in a place not made for sleep, including car seats outside of the vehicle and inclined products with an angle greater than 10 degrees, like rockers, gliders, and swings, transfer them to a safe sleep surface.
We have to remember that just because it looks like it might be comfortable for your child doesn't mean that it's necessarily safe.
Finally, always place a baby to sleep on their back to reduce the risk of sudden unexpected infant death syndrome and suffocation. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Now, parents can always check to see if any baby nursery products have been recalled. That includes any secondhand products that might have been bought. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
We also have a cool start to the morning, but we warm up to the upper 70s by the afternoon. I'll have more details coming up.
Right now at 5:30, road crews in Joplin see the finish line for a major road construction project.
And after a cool start to the morning, we're warming up to have a really nice day today.
Plus, a class in Oklahoma looks to preserve the Quapaw language for future generations.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's just coming up on 5:31. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Lindsay Gaffney.
Yes, and it's going to be a really nice day today. It was a bit foggy for those of you who maybe were out on the roads earlier and a bit chilly, but it's going to turn around.
You know what? I don't mind the chilly starts to the morning. No. It's pretty fantastic.
Refreshing.
Unfortunately, the fog driving in is a little scary, so be careful out there. We'll go ahead and take a look outside right now. We can see cool temperatures in the lower 50s, but mostly clear skies outside of the fog. So if you're getting your morning started already, even later in the morning, you're going to be dealing with the fog. We see pretty dense fog all the way through after 8 a.m. So this is about 7:40, so just when everyone's getting ready to go to work, go to school, we got less than half a mile visibility in most of our counties in Kansas and Oklahoma. So that's Oswego, Parsons, Chanute, even up to Iola, Yates Center, Girard, Miami, Welsh, Veneta, Nowata. All of those cities are going to be dealing with some pretty dense fog. Even in the Carl Junction, which is the Joplin, Webb City area, about a mile visibility, and that continues all the way through 10 a.m., although it isolates a little bit furthermore to just Kansas and Oklahoma counties. Now it clears out by about 10:30, and outside of that, we're mostly clear skies today. As you can see, we start the morning off, not a cloud in sight. We may see a couple of clouds later in the evening, but overall, pretty nice day. And we start the morning temperatures by 10 a.m. in the mid 60s, by 1 p.m. mid 70s. We warm up a little bit more about early afternoon, 3 to 4 p.m. But outside of that, it's going to be a really nice sunny day, and that continues through most of the rest of the work week. However, we do have some rain chances in the forecast, and I'll talk about that coming up.
All right, we'll check in with you soon, Lindsay. Thanks. Well, a major piece of road work appears to be nearing a finish line. Crews have been busy widening Connecticut Avenue in Joplin from 2 lanes to 5, with walking paths on both sides from 32nd to 38th Street. Now, the project stems from the passage of the capital improvement sales tax passed by voters in 2004 and renewed in 2014 and 2024. The completion of the project is expected by mid-November. Well, teachers at Joplin's McKinley Elementary School will find it a little easier to buy school supplies thanks to a donation. The school gets a $3,000 check from the Subaru Loves Learning Initiative, courtesy of Frank Fletcher Subaru. Now, the money will be shared among teachers to spend on supplies from select vendors associated with the program.
We are not selfish in that manner one bit. We are big on our community, and McKinley has been our school of choice for, I want to say, the last 8 years now. Now, mind you, this is my first year doing it because I've only been in the position for 11 months now. But yeah, so McKinley's been our top choice.
Another $3,000 gift will go toward a software system in place at McKinley that helps staff and students stay safe during arrival and departure times. The Quapaw Language Department kicked off their language classes yesterday. The instructor will begin teaching about pronunciation as a foundation for the class. Now, the goal is to promote cultural preservation. Organizers hope to pass down the Quapaw language so future generations can feel more connected to their culture.
It's just a lifelong thing, just like any other language, but it's just so different from English that it's hard for people to even start to grasp that you have to just speak in a completely different way. Your thought process has to be just totally separate from English.
Now, Quapaw is considered a dormant language, so no one speaks it fluently. One of the goals of the classes is to build towards fluency. When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, right? Well, that's what 12 students were making and selling at the Girard Farmers Market yesterday afternoon. Now, the students are part of an entrepreneurship program that started with lessons about the process of getting a bank loan and ends with hopefully a profit for each of them at their own lemonade stand.
The money that they make today for Lemonade Day is going to go to pay back their loan. So we walked them through what it means to take out a loan through a bank, and they each took $25 loans out. So they'll go back and they'll pay that back to the bank, and then everything else that they get is theirs.
Lemonade Day is a program that more than 1.5 million children in 3 countries have participated in. The profit generated by the Lemonade Day is more than $270 million. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Well, popular fruit could disappear from grocery stores due to a potential dock worker strikes. Plus, Israel and Hezbollah are on the brink of an all-out war. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch. Prince Harry is calling on tech companies to do more to protect young people from the harmful effects of social media. Now, the 42-year-old dad of 2 took to the stage at the Clinton Global Initiative annual meeting in New York yesterday to discuss the launch of the Archwell Foundation Parents Network. Now, it's an initiative supporting parents whose children have suffered or died due to online harms. The Clinton Global Initiative annual meeting is happening on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly. A potential dock worker strike could lead to a fruit shortage at some grocery stores. 45,000 dock workers with the International Longshoremen's Association are threatening to strike as they seek a new contract by October 1st. Now, a strike could stall distributions at major American ports that supply popular fruits such as bananas, which could result in empty produce sections or extreme price hikes. The produce experts say any fruit that comes in during a strike will likely spoil and be thrown away. Industry experts predict a dock worker strike could cause a roughly $7.5 billion loss for the economy. Now, the union is demanding an 80% pay increase over the next 6 years, and as well as more restrictive language on automation in the workplace. Well, former Hurricane John dissipated over Mexico yesterday, but not after barreling into the country's southern Pacific coast, leaving at least 2 dead. Now, the storm left a trail of destruction in its path, and it grew into a major hurricane in a matter of hours on Monday, coming ashore near Acapulco as a Category 3 hurricane with maximum sustained winds of 120 miles per hour. Now, officials say 2 people died when the storm sent a mudslide crashing into their house. The U.S. National Hurricane Center warned that the storm's slow pace and heavy rains could cause potentially catastrophic flash flooding and mudslides in some Mexican states. As the fighting grinds on in Gaza, the conflict on Israel's northern border is seeing a big escalation this week. Mike Tobin has more from Haifa, Israel.
More back and forth fire between Israel and Hezbollah as the two sides inch closer to an all-out war. On Monday, the IDF significantly escalated its offensive, hitting more than 1,500 targets and causing more than 500 deaths. Hezbollah responded with stepped-up attacks against cities and towns in northern Israel. Israeli leaders are now reportedly considering a ground offensive if Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah orders his forces to keep attacking.
If he doesn't pull his forces back and stop shooting into northern Israel, Israel is going to commit to an air and ground war to force him to do that.
The death toll in Lebanon is now at its highest since the 2006 war between Israel and Lebanon. But Israel says this time it's different, and they're relying more on precision airstrikes they say can locate and take out militants before they threaten Israeli civilians.
We're talking about heavy missiles with hundreds of kilograms of warheads pointed towards Israeli civilians, and we are committed to do so as long as Hezbollah keeps fighting.
Both Hamas and Hezbollah are backed by Iran, which has promised retaliation against Israel for the killing of a Hamas leader in Tehran last month. But their response to this latest escalation has been measured, calling on the international community to stop the violence.
We are concerned about the repetition of disasters like those that happened in Gaza, and therefore we demand immediate intervention by the UN.
The State Department is now urging all Americans to leave Lebanon before this conflict escalates further.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Overall, this morning it's going to be pretty cool, though we do have some dense fog in the area. Taking a look at downtown Pittsburgh, not a lot of traffic out there. It's 5:45, so it's still pretty early. Now, yesterday we were a lot cooler than what we're going to be today. Average is upper 70s, low 80s, and our overnight lows mid 50s, but we're about average for our lows. Our high yesterday was pretty low, down at 73, but that's because we had a few rain showers still passing and rain from over the weekend. So overall, the last 48 hours, we got about 2 more inches out, especially out in the Missouri side, just east of Joplin, east of Pittsburgh and Nevada. But we're mostly dry, at least for the next couple of days. We don't even have any clouds in sight through tomorrow. But we do start the morning off with some pretty dense fog in some areas, especially in the Kansas, Missouri side, less than a mile visibility, even in some parts less than half a mile visibility. So drive with caution this morning when you're getting up, making your day, because that's going to continue until about 9 a.m. Now, temperatures are going to be in the low to mid 50s, so not so bad. Pretty cool morning, but we do warm up to the upper 70s today, which is just about average, but mostly clear skies and a light breeze out of the northeast. Now, by 7 p.m., we're already in the low 70s, but by 8 p.m., we're already in the 60s. So we're cooling down quickly as we get into the overnight hours tonight, and then our overnight low tonight dropping down to low 50s, about 50 to 51, and even in some areas, even upper 40s. So we're definitely going to be pretty cool tonight, although we warm up over the next couple of days and into the weekend because we do have this ridge that forms over our area. And although we're still going to have a northerly breeze through the weekend, we do see high pressure building and some warmer air in our area through the weekend. However, starting Friday early afternoon, we're gonna actually see some rain showers from Hurricane Helene. Now, it's kind of a rare occurrence because obviously the hurricane is off the coast of Florida. So how does that make it all the way into our area, into the Midwest? What we have is, as the hurricane makes landfall as a Category 3 with winds 130 miles per hour, it's a pretty strong hurricane. It meets our already low pressure system that is in closer to the southern states, Arkansas, Mississippi, and eastern Texas. What happens is, this is called the Fujiwara effect, and it's a pretty rare occurrence. As this pushes in, the hurricane's actually going to rotate east around the current low. So these lows are just going to rotate around each other until finally one overtakes the other. But this happens and we get a few showers. This is early Friday afternoon around 2 to 3 p.m. A few showers pushing in until about 7, maybe 8 p.m. on Friday. So not long, because that low that we already had positioned overtakes the hurricane, and then it will continue to shift out to the east Friday night. And then we have that ridge that builds over our area. So for the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we warm up into the upper 70s, low 80s, but then we cool back down by next weekend. So until then, temperatures are pretty mild, 78, 77, today and Thursday, and then we have those showers possible on Friday thanks to the Fujiwara effect, and we get that hurricane moving closer to our area. But we'll be back with more news after this.
Well, today in entertainment news, Bruce Springsteen, Margot Robbie, and the late, great James Earl Jones. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
Since I was 16, playing live has been a deep and lasting part of who I am.
Road Diary, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band takes you backstage and on stage to see how the Boss and friends put on their legendary concerts. The trailer just debuted for the documentary, which includes archival footage and interviews with Springsteen. The film premieres October 25th on Hulu and Disney+.
Absolutely, it was designed to be seen.
Emerald Fennell has set her sights on Wuthering Heights. The Saltburn and Promising Young Woman filmmaker is set to adapt the classic Emily Bronte novel. Saltburn actor Jacob Elordi is on board to play Heathcliff in the tale of doomed love, with Margot Robbie as Catherine Earnshaw. She'll also serve as a producer on the film.
And suddenly, we're blindsided with this event.
Broadway is honoring the late James Earl Jones. Theaters will dim their lights Thursday at 6:45 p.m. in his honor. Jones, who died September 9th at age 93, won 2 Tony Awards for The Great White Hope and Fences, and received a special Lifetime Achievement Tony in 2017. In 2022, Broadway's Court Theater was renamed the James Earl Jones Theater. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Well, an intense slip and slide down a rain-soaked cliffside that could have cost a hiker his life will leave you breathless. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
A hiker's terrifying brush with death was caught on camera after he slipped on a rain-soaked cliffside in China. 42-year-old Yang Meng was hiking up an eastern province mountain when he suddenly slipped, sliding helplessly down the rocky cliffside while his 360-degree camera recorded it all. The hiker's fall was miraculously stopped by some cliffside shrubs, which saved his life, leaving him instead with only scrapes and bruises. Meng says the experience gave him cause to reflect on life, but says he's driven to explore even more than before, despite his horrifying mountainside slide. In California, a surreal sight as a yacht fire sent flames shooting into the night, and that wasn't all. As firefighters battled the blaze engulfing this 100-foot vessel in Marina del Rey, an impromptu inferno fireworks display erupted from inside the flaming vessel. Turns out the luxury boat had been carrying a large amount of ammunition and fireworks, which sparked the explosions. No one was seriously hurt, and officials fought the flames from land and sea. They now turned to removing the obliterated boat, which ended up sunk in the marina. Finally, let's end on some positive maritime news. An avid swimmer in Wisconsin is using her daily morning dip as an opportunity for an artistic endeavor. As Melody Legal swims her methodical morning routine,
60 up. Okay, now I'm gonna go curve, I'll make 10, and then I'm gonna go down 20.
her Garmin watch records her route in the lake, turning her swim strokes into digital brush strokes, creating sweet and silly smartwatch art. Why? Why not?
I think of myself as a big pen in the water.
For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Well, stick around, we'll be right back. A lost cat finds its way home despite being stranded in another state. Benny and Suzanne say their cat named Rainbow ran away from their RV while on a trip at Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming in June. Now, 2 months later, Rainbow miraculously appeared in Roseville, California, nearly all the way back to his hometown of Solanas. Now, the couple believes the cat made most of the 800-mile trek on his own. The family is still unsure of how Rainbow was able to get back to California. They're asking for help to understand their cat's mysterious trip home. Well, how about some lobster to celebrate National Lobster Day today? You could cook up some delicious lobster at home or maybe at your favorite seafood restaurant. The crustaceans live at the bottom of the ocean. Should they avoid a trap that would bring them to your dinner table, some lobsters can live up to 100 years old. And they weren't always a delicacy, with lobsters very plentiful around the time European settlers reached North America. National Lobster Day started in 2014. when Maine Senators Angus King and Susan Collins drafted a joint resolution.
Overall, the next couple of days are going to be pretty mild with temperatures getting into the upper 70s. Wednesday, 78. Overnight low down in the upper 50s. And Thursday, mid 70s to upper 70s as well. Now we have some rain chances early Friday afternoon starting around 2 to 3 p.m. thanks to the Hurricane Helene as it moves inland. It moves around another low pressure system that's already in place, and it actually moves to the west, bringing us a few of those showers. Now, it doesn't last long, and for the rest of the weekend, we go on a warm up because of a ridge moving over the area. So we get into the upper 70s, low 80s by Monday, and then we drop back down by next weekend. So until then, pretty mild temperatures and mostly sunny skies through most of the work week and into the weekend. Now we'll be right back.